Gazing towards the horizon, Meve noticed a dark shape outlined against the mantle of snow that lay on the ground. It proved a tower, toppled and broken in pieces. Around it lay the ruins of other buildings, blocks hewn out of basalt rock protruding from the permafrost.
That'd be the Clan Vidmar ruins,
said Gabor, hollering over the wind.
Rich ones had their clan seat here till earth tremors turned all into dust. Hundreds of dwarves lived here once, and now, not a living soul.
Help! Save me!
On the contrary, there was someone midst the ruins, and said someone was clearly in trouble. Meve ordered her men to find the unfortunate soul. They returned moments later, leading a dwarf whose teeth chattered. They had found him in a ruined building where he'd sought shelter from ghouls. Judging by his appearance, the dwarf had spent the better part of a week there.
Murko Vidmar, they call me,
he said, patting down unkempt hair that seemed to reach in all directions.
I came here seeking a family heirloom, lost in the tremors and the chaos they caused. I ken the chamber where it ought to be, but, well, beasts made their lair there. I cannot drive them off on my own. But bold warriors like you ought to cut them down in a jiffy. So, will you help?
Work for a witcher, it seems,
answered Meve.
And I do not belong to that venerated guild. You must forgive me.
Clearly disappointed by the Queen's decision, Murko Vidmar nonetheless refused to give up. Disregarding the danger, he remained in the abandoned, ruined settlement, awaiting someone who would dare to aid him. Upon spotting the returning Lyrians, Murko grinned from ear to ear. He hoped the Queen had changed her mind and would help him after all.
I too have lost my home, estate,
said the Queen.
So I understand well what you feel. I shall help you recover your heirloom. Call it a win.
Murko Vidmar's face lit up. Though he'd spent a week besieged and eating stale biscuits, and though there was a hoarfrost in his beard, he quickly trotted to the front of the column and led the Lyrian soldiers to the underground chamber. As promised, beasts awaited there.
The ruins! From there they come! Drive them back!
Let's get a move on before any others show up.
As soon as the fight was done, Murko Vidmar ran towards a crate that stood on a pedestal, slipping on the now bloody floor. When the dwarf lifted the lid, precious stones spilled out.
Your heirloom? This?
Asked the Queen, rather puzzled.
I thought a pipe that belonged to your grandfather more likely.
Seems to me Brother Murko wasn't wholly candid with us. This here's no heirloom, no family souvenir. It's the treasure trove of Clan Vidmar. We thought it gone for good.
Pressed for the truth, Murko admitted no family sentiment had prompted this expedition. The dwarf had planned to leave Mahakam and start a new life among humans. Yet he did not wish to do so without sizable capital.
I can't stand to stay here a moment longer. The days, all of them, they're identical. Rise with the first cockscrow, march in double file to the latrine, crap on command, 12 hours down the shaft and home to sleep.
Murko complained.
Want a wifey? Put in an application. In triplicate. Care to snip your beard? Elders got to approve it. You want to add buttermilk, not cream, to your mushroom soup? Clan council's got to debate it. How's a dwarf not to get balmy?
I understand the lad, no two ways about it.
Gabor sighed.
But I feel it's my duty to remind yous that what Murko's going and doing here, well, there are laws. Treasure's due the Elder-in-Chief, not to Murko, that's one. Second, any dwarf that wants to leave Mahakam can't take nothing but his breeches, his dixie and his coat. So, brief like, consider well afore you make your decision, Your Grace.
When I was a lass of but 12 summers, my mother ordered me to go to a ball in a pink crinoline dress. In it I resembled a meringue pastry.
Meve smiled at the memory.
So I cut it into ribbons and fled out my bedroom window.
What's that got to do with?
What I wish to say, Gabor, is that I understand him. And though it be against your laws, I shall allow him to take the treasure and leave.
Murko Vidmar had tears in his eyes as he thanked the Queen. Then he heaved the crate onto his back, and deeply bent over under its weight, he trudged off towards human lands.
I sympathize, Murko,
Said Meve.
but I'm a crowned head. I must decline. National interest requires I show the greatest possible care for my relations with Elder-in-Chief Hugh. Yet in aiding you, I could sour those greatly. I shall return the treasure to him, I must. While you do what you will.
Murko Vidmar swore under his breath, then jostled his way through the Lyrian infantry and into the mountains, towards human lands.
Right of state at times requires a monarch to disregard laws, as well as pledges once given.
Said Meve, shutting the crate's lid with a loud crack.
I need resources to wage war against Nilfgaard, and towards that cause I will allocate this treasure.
Those gathered in the underground hall accepted the Queen's decision in silence. Gabor merely shook his head, while Murko jostled his way through the Lyrian infantry and into the mountains, towards human lands.
Your Grace, 'tis not right.
Calm down, Sir Eyck. What's the problem?
The deed you've committed, most foul. As the good book says, whosoever standeth idle in the face of evil proveth guilty of the same. Know that I never stand idle. Yet I cannot stop you from doing so. Thus I must leave. I refuse to play any part in the wickedness you perpetrate.
Sir Eyck,
Farewell, Queen, and may the gods have pity on your soul.